Hello everyone and welcome to Shauna Stitches, episode number 28, I think. And today's February the 4th, Sunday, and it's much earlier than I ever record. It's 9:13 in the morning, if you can believe that. Hence the not good lighting. I had to adjust the overhead lighting a little bit because I was getting a lot of shadows, but I think it's decent enough. If you guys have noticed, I have not put out a podcast since Vlogmas, and that was not the plan, but things have been pretty crazy in my life lately. This isn't part of the crazy part, but I did rearrange my living room, which is why I'm out here in the living room today, because my craft room is a mess, and I didn't even want to attempt to tackle that because, quite honestly, I've put off recording long enough that I just needed to quit making excuses. I'm going to dive right in. I have one finished object, which has nothing to do with knitting or crochet or yarn, which is a huge reason for not filming previous to this. My finished object is a twin size quilt. I followed along with the Brooklyn Knit Folk quilt along, which finished a long time ago technically, but she still has the tutorials up on YouTube, so I followed that. Got a little help from two people, Carrie of the Creative Obsession. If you've ever watched her podcast, she is a very good quilter, and she helped me out a ton, as well as one of my other friends. So anyway, thank you both. You helped me a ton, more than you know. So I'll insert a photo because it's already been given to my nephew. You've heard me talk about my nephew before, and you'll notice that this blanket has all the Bronco colors because his parents painted him, I think it's a race car bed, in the Broncos colors. So he seems to really like it. You know, he's 4 and has other things on his mind, but his mom tells me that he does like to sleep with it. So that's really great. And yeah, that is my only finished object. I have dogs everywhere today. Fiona has to say hello because she's a ham. Hey, Cody. The big one's Cody. This one's Fiona. Okay, so I do have some works in progress. If you watched my Vlogmas, you'll notice that I was very much on a kick of working on my Cozy Memories blanket. So unfortunately, I won't say that I don't have knitting mojo, but for like actually tackling a project to finish, I have not had any knitting mojo. I haven't worked really on any projects at all since before Vlogmas. Really, okay, so what the true factor is my job and my schedule. I'm still at the same job, but my role at my job changed, which meant I went from working 12-hour shifts to 8-hour shifts, which sounds great, right? Like more free time every day and all that good stuff. The difference is I work at least 5 days a week. This week I worked 6 days. So I worked yesterday, Saturday. And I just feel like I don't have the time to finish things. And I know it's kind of silly because if I were just to use the time that I'm working on these scrappy projects towards an actual project, I could have something finished by now. But for whatever reason, in my mind, it just seems really daunting. So I don't know if that's going to change. And I just felt really bad putting a podcast out there without a lot to show. So that's been why this has taken so long. I will say that I do have another work in progress that is quilting. I'm making my niece a quilt now. She loves purple, so it's all in purples. And it is in pieces in my craft room, which is why it's such a mess. And I'll insert a photo of how I laid out the squares so that you can see what that's gonna look like. Right now it's mostly all in strips. I think I have like one to go. So it's going well. I'm thinking this one is turning out better. I've learned a lot in like cutting out the fabric and making sure that's right, and it's I won't say it's super difficult, but it's a different world for sure. Plus, once you cut that, you can't, just tie it back together. Okay, so, oh, this dog, Cody. He loves me. Anyway, so I'm going to show you some of my scrappy projects that I have been working on. Here is my cozy memories. I have done a ton on this because I was doing, even after Vlogmas, I was doing a square a day or more. I'm trying to find the top here. Yep, here we go. So I'll have to scoop back a little bit to show you the whole thing. But there we go. It's getting quite large. Let me take a look and see if I can tell you. I think this square right here was the first one after Vlogmas. So I finished those 4, this whole next top row plus these 3, and then I think the 2 rows here along the side. So, or maybe I guess it's these 2 rows. So yeah, it's getting very big. It would be even bigger if I hadn't gone off on a complete tangent. So I love my Cozy Memories blanket. It's really fun. But my least favorite part of it is picking up stitches. And don't get me wrong, I really don't mind picking up stitches, but it does take a lot of time. You're fine, Fiona. So first I saw Michelle of the Michelle of the Naughty Knitwits had posted that she was doing the brioche square. I'm not even exactly sure what it's called, but it's the same concept as the Cozy Memories, but it's in brioche. And I gave that a try, and oh my gosh, like, I love me some brioche, but I don't know if I didn't have the brain space to follow the directions, or if the directions just weren't clear enough for me, but I was completely confused. So forgot that. Why I even thought I needed to start another one is beyond me, but I got it in my head that I did. So then I remembered I purchased a pattern quite a long time ago, like when it first came out, of Mina Phillips' pinwheel scrap blanket. So I gave that a try, and oh my gosh, you guys, I love this project. This is my current obsession. I love it because it honestly takes 2 to 3 grams per triangle, not the big square, but just one color triangle, and there are no picking up stitches. All you have to do is learn a German short row or another short row technique that you like. Personally, I like the short row that's in the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, but I couldn't figure out how to make that work with this. So I'm using the German short row that she suggests. Oh, I haven't done this in a while. Suggests. By the way, I'm not cutting that out, so it is what it is. Anyway, here's the first square that I did. And I really like this project a lot. It's very easy. You just add in a different color yarn when you're ready to change. I'll show you what the back looks like. I'm using the modified 3-needle bind off that Mina uses, and you can see it right there. It creates kind of a ridge, but the front looks great, like not a problem at all. Super simple. And I have started weaving my ends in as I go. So when I actually finish a square, I have 2 ends to weave in. That's it. It's great. So here is my next square. And my third. I told you this is what I've been working on, guys. I finish like at least a triangle a day, sometimes 2. Today I'm on my 2nd triangle for the day. And this is what that looks like when it is in progress. So you see it looks kind of weird because you're working the short rows, but trust me, it works out just fine. So I'm hoping to get this square done today. That will be my 4th. And I even treated myself to some new needles. These are the Knit Pro Zings in a 2.75 millimeter, which is a US 2. Prior to that, I was using these Susan Bates that I got from Joann's. And they worked okay on my Cozy Memories, but with this, for some reason with those German short rows, it's a little bit harder to pick things up. So these have just a little bit sharper of a tip, if you can see that. And they are shorter. I kind of wish these were the 7-inch, but the person I bought them from on Etsy only had the 6-inch in stock, and that's totally fine. They work great. As you can see here, like I can spread out my stitches and I'm not worried about them falling off the needle. I still have about 1 inch on each side. I haven't dropped any stitches there. One note about this pattern, if you're better at fixing mistakes than I am, I'm trying to find my mistakes. This probably won't be a problem for you, but I have had some major problems when I actually drop a stitch, and it always seems to be it'll be the second stitch from the edge here, and I cannot figure out how to fix it. I have had to fudge it. Like here you can see right there, it's not perfect, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't seem to really matter. So it's a scrappy project, it's fine. So I'm trying to organize my thoughts here, easier said than done. After I am done either with a square or a triangle, I have been putting all of my scraps into a magic knot ball, which looks like a really crazy gobstopper ball. And my original plan was to put this into my granny stripe blanket because that's what I've been doing with my leftovers before. In fact, I didn't bring it out here, but if you watch my Vlogmas, I showed that I added all of my Vlogmas extras into my crochet blanket. So anyway, that was my original plan. But I was lucky enough to be the winner of a pattern giveaway, and the pattern was my choice. And I looked and looked and looked. I really wanted to get like a sweater pattern, but obviously that's not where my headspace is right now. So I kept thinking to myself, I saw Rebecca of Mean Girls Knit, I think it's just Mean Girls podcast. She made a pair of the Marled Mania leggings, and I really love her leggings. So my thought is, with these scraps and other scraps that I have, because I have quite a bit, I'm thinking of making the Marled Mania leggings. So, question for you guys. These ones are all magic knot balls. And quite honestly, I don't really care how the leggings look because I want them more for warmth. I was thinking they'd be really nice to wear under jeans, because I do have some jeans that are big enough they'd fit, for like walking the dogs, because I'm always freezing. So that's my current thought process. So anyway, question for you guys. Would you just mix any 2 strands of this together and just go with it? Or would you take like one of these magic knot balls and like, I know this isn't solid, it's technically a self-striping, and mix those together, since it would be somewhat of a solid background and a crazy, because I have 2 different colors of this, and I wouldn't care if I mix brown and gray and black because I think that would look fine. So yeah, what do you guys think? I might just have to test it out and see how that turns out, but who knows? Okay, I do have a couple more works in progress to show you. And if you remember right from my Vlogmas, I said my goal of 2018 was to finish all the things that I haven't finished. And I don't know if that's gonna happen. I haven't started anything new, but I mean, I guess I did start the pinwheel blanket, but technically scrap projects don't count. I promise. Anyway, so I did start these blueberry waffle socks. This is actually equivalent to a worsted weight. It's 2 strands of fingering held together. I'm using Ice Yarn's Magic Sock, which is a self-striping. So I just have 2 balls of this. I actually lined up the colors where they would, I don't have a change here, where they'll change at the same time or darn close to it. So it is actually creating a nice stripe rather than sort of a marled effect. but I haven't given a lot of work to these. And again, the thought process behind nice thick socks was that my feet are always freezing. Last project I'm going to show you is my traveling cables hat, which I started just before the new year in some pretty crazy yarn. I can't remember what this is called. I want to say it's Malabrigo, but I could be really wrong. So I had mentioned before during Vlogmas, I wasn't sure how the cables would show up in this. I think they show up good enough for me. So really the whole thought behind this is to wear it while I'm walking the dogs, but I haven't finished it yet. Actually, so Rudy had to have surgery on his knee a second time, the same knee. So we haven't been doing as many dog walks, but I did the majority, a lot of this, while waiting for him to get done with his surgery. So yeah, I feel like a complete failure when it comes to projects, and it stinks because, you know, before I was just getting projects done so fast. When I worked a 12-hour schedule, a lot of times I would have a lot of time off, and I would have days off where, like, now I only get 2 days off, and I would do the majority of my knitting on those days off. And so I'm just not having that anymore, and quite honestly it stinks. But it is what it is. So I'm just happy to knit some stitches every single day, because for my sanity I really have to do that. A quick note on the minis, if you did watch my Vlogmas, I filled this up with after Vlogmas with, it was either 52 or 54 minis. So in the month of January and the few days of February, I have finished all but 3 of those. So I'll be filling this up again real soon. That's how I pick my minis, by the way. Those pinwheel squares that I showed you, it's completely random. Close my eyes, stick my hand in, and I pick one and I go with it. And I don't, you know, it's one less thing to stress about. Oh my gosh, is this gonna match? Are all the triangles gonna match? And you know, from what I found, like, matching or not matching, they look pretty nice. So I'm not gonna worry about it. Not gonna stress, because it is not worth my time to stress. Okay, so I just have a few acquisitions to show you. Again, I have not bought yarn. I think, I'm gonna check here on my phone. It's been 180 days, exactly, 180, since I have bought yarn, which again, I'm not really using it up like I was, but still, that's pretty good self-restraint. I'm really no longer holding myself to I can't buy yarn. I just sort of have a different mindset about buying it. One, I really only want to buy it if I have a project in mind that I'm going to start soon. Or 2, if it's on a really great sale and I can see using it and it's not something that I currently have. I feel like there's a 3. I don't know. Anyway, I just have a different mindset about buying yarn. So the acquisitions I'm going to show are some Christmas presents. Yes, I'm talking about Christmas presents in February, because I guess that's what I do, that Glenn got me. So the first thing is this set of Chiagu interchangeable needles, which, although I haven't used them yet, I'm really excited about. He got me the big set, which has the tiny needles and the ginormous needles, and lots of cable lengths. I currently have the Hayas, which I really do like, but I was curious to try these. He actually hinted that he was going to buy them, and I forget what he said he was looking at, what brand, but I may have suggested that I wanted these, so love those. Another thing he got me is this beautiful multicolored yarn. This is by Zen Yarn Garden, and it's based on a painting called Laughter, which is really beautiful. And what else to say? It's a 90-10. 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon, and 400 yards. I don't know when I'll be using this, but I will use it at some point. He also bought me some hand spun, which is so pretty. One of the local shops here up in Astoria, if I could think of the name of the shop, I would tell you. It's mostly a quilting shop actually, but they do have some yarn. And they have this hand spun, which is by a local lady called Sandy Spins. It doesn't appear that she has a website at all, but she does have an email there and a phone number if you guys wanted to reach out. This is my very first hand spun and I'm so excited. I would say the drawback is that I don't know what weight this is, and I know I can figure it out. Something about wrapping a ruler and how many wraps per inch, and you can kind of figure that out. But I'm thinking a hat because I don't have a ton of this, so. Maroon-ish has always been a pretty good color on me, just not when I'm wearing bright pink. And the very last thing is something that I won. I was lucky enough to win one of the 12 Days of Christmas giveaways from Bigfoot Fibers. And this is the prize, which is so beautiful. It's 5 20-gram minis, and it's a 12 Days of Christmas mini set called Vintage Christmas. So I don't know what I'm going to use this for yet, if I'm going to save it for next Christmas or what, but they're beautiful, they're soft, and super happy with these, and can't believe that I won. Just couldn't believe it when she announced that, so very exciting. I feel like I have kind of covered my sort of life stuff as we went. And it's been kind of a downer episode. I'm sorry, guys. It's just the way life is lately. But I know a lot of you were looking forward to an episode, so I felt really bad waiting this long. Let me know, like, if I don't really have a lot to show, are you interested in just seeing, like, my squares and, like, a 10-minute podcast? Let me know, because I can do that. I just felt like I didn't have enough to show, which is why I wasn't recording. So life in general. I have some exciting news, good news that makes me happy anyway, is that since December 13th or so, I've been making a conscious decision to change my health. And that's because in the last 4 years, I have gained 40 pounds, 10 pounds a year, and that's a lot. I know a lot of women don't like talking about weight. I don't really care because it is what it is. I can't deny it. My pants weren't fitting anymore, and I refuse to buy new, bigger ones. Yeah, just really, like, even now, I mean, I'm wearing my pajama pants, so. But I've lost a total of 10 pounds. Most of that has been since January 7th or so. Like, it has just gone down, down, down. And I'm super pumped about that because I am hypothyroid, which means that my metabolism is super slow. I don't know the exact explanation for that. I just know hyper means that your metabolism is faster and hypo is slow. So I can thank my genetics and my mom and grandmother for that. They had the same thing, so I guess maybe it was just destined to be. But with some of the changes I've made to my health, or that I'm making, I'm hoping to maybe be able to reverse the effects of that. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that would be amazing. I'm also not necessarily hoping to lose all 40 pounds, which would be another 30, because I was awfully thin before. But if I could lose another 20, that would be amazing. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So far, so good. And it's hard not to expect things to happen overnight, but I realize it took me 4 years to gain this much weight. So, I hope it's not 4 years to lose it all, but I can't expect to lose it all in a month or two either. So that's what I've been working on. I have been going to the gym more, trying to get, if I can't go to the gym, I have a treadmill, so trying to walk on my treadmill. And that's one nice thing is now that I have the shorter days is that I try and get some time in on my treadmill, if nothing else. This dog is nuts. Cody, sit. Thank you. So I don't really know when I'll record again. Like I said, I would love feedback on two things. One, if you're okay with a shorter episode that just doesn't show a whole lot of finished objects. And two, what do you think about those Marled Mania leggings? Mixing two crazy colors or one crazy with a little more subdued background color. So, I may actually cast those on today because why not? And I don't know what I'm going to do, so probably whatever you guys tell me to do, I'll do the opposite of that because I may start it today. But I also have to clean up my house because I have company coming, so we'll see. Anyways, thank you all for all of you who tuned in. If you're a new viewer, I promise go back and watch the older episodes. I really used to crank out the finished objects. I don't know when that's going to happen again. And thank you to those who are returning. I hope this wasn't too disappointing of a podcast for you. I'm going to go now because this dog's nuts. But yeah, have a great day, guys. Bye.